All right, good evening. How we doing tonight? Oh, absolutely. All right, so I am Kyrie Gorilla. I'll be serving as tonight's moderator for the District 4 listening session. It's awesome to have you all in the room tonight. So this is the first of our 4 listening sessions that will be held throughout Bowie. And you all are all welcome to attend all of them, whatever your schedule permits. And so just a couple of logistics. The exit is kind of right here. I think everyone knows we all came through the same door, right? Yes? All right, awesome. And then right outside those doors to the left is going to be where the restrooms are. If you haven't already had a chance to do so, sometime maybe at the end of the session, please check out the tables there. There's some pretty cool information about what's going on in the city of Bowie. And you get an opportunity to stay connected to the city, the recycling, and the code of compliance and more. So just quick disclaimer before we get started. This meeting is being recorded, and it will be broadcasted on the government channel. So that's Verizon Channel 10 and then Comcast Channel 71 and 996. And that's going to happen several times over the next few weeks here. So, and if you can't catch it on the air there, it's also going to be on the City of Bowie website, which is cityofbowie.org/view meetings, and on the City of Bowie YouTube channel as well. All right, so just a little kind of housekeeping things on how the evening will proceed here. We're going to have a few brief welcoming comments by the mayor and District 4 Council Member Roxy and Debomato. And then after that, we're going to take the remaining session, or the remaining time in the session, if you will, to listen to the issues, ideas, and concerns, everything that you all have going on, or whatever you are in thought processes about as it pertains to District 4 in the city of Bowie. That's kind of what this session is happening for tonight. And so please give us your candid feedback. Please give us your candid advice. Please give us your candid opinions. The people who are standing before you or seated before you rather here today are literally here to listen to everything that you all are thinking about as it pertains to the city, right? You all are the people who are paying your tax dollars here, and so they want to make sure that they're lending their ear to you. So when it's time to make decisions, they're taking those things into consideration. So are we all on board to do that for us tonight? Can I get a quick thumbs up? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. So throughout the night, there's going to be the mic there if you all are comfortable with coming to the mic to share those issues, ideas, and concerns. But we've also thought ahead of that. If you're uncomfortable coming to the mic, there's also another way that you can text your comments or your ideas to. And so we have a number here. If you have something to jot it down, I believe it's also going to be on the posters here. And the number is 240-883-5466. Again, that's 240-883-5466. And so that's another method that we've set up tonight so that you can text in your issues, ideas, and concerns if you're not comfortable with coming to the mic. Are we all tracking there? Can I get another quick thumbs up? Awesome, thank you. So after the meeting, if you have any further comments or if you would like to share anything else that we didn't have an opportunity to capture tonight, please email it to publicinfo@cityofbowie.org. Again, that's publicinfo@cityofbowie.org, and that message will be forwarded to all of the council members. Please try to keep your comments to under 2 minutes. We are on a time schedule here tonight, and we want to make sure that we're respectful of everyone's time and everyone's opinions and issues, ideas, and concerns as well as the council members' time here. So if you can keep your comments to under 2 minutes, we'd really appreciate that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and kick it off. We're going to have some introductions from Mayor Tim Adams, who's co-hosting along with Roxy and Debomato here, City Councilwoman of District 4, and then we're going to go and hop right into it.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Let me try that again. Good evening. Can you hear me better? Good, good, good. Hey, I'm going to make some very, very brief comments. First, I'd like to thank the rest of the council members for being here this evening. I'd like to thank our moderator. I'd like to thank the city staff and all who helped to put this together. But most importantly, I want to thank you for being here. One of the things we've talked about and we really want to make sure is that we hear your voice. We're here to do the things that you want us to do. It's our time to hear what you want and to make sure that that's how we move forward. So having said that, I appreciate you coming out this evening. We're looking to do the 4 sessions. You know, you will hear me talk often about one city, one Bowie, because that's who we are. We're one city, we're one Bowie, and we need to hear from you. Please, if you have any shyness in you, please don't hesitate to text so we can get that information. But most importantly, make sure you give us that feedback. Let us get your ideas. Let us be the best we can be based upon you, because we're only here to serve you. And thank you so much for being here.
Good evening, everyone. Hello? Hello? Okay, awesome. Before I say anything, I just want to introduce the rest of the council. So, council, could you please wave when I call your hand? We have with us Councilman Michael Estef representing District 1. We also have Councilman Dufour Wolfley representing District 2. We have Councilman Adrian Buafo representing District 3. And we have Councilwoman Ingrid Harrison representing at large the city of Bowie. So as you all may have gathered by now, my name is Roxy Ndebumadu. I am your District 4 representative. Thank you. Thank you all for coming out tonight to our first listening session ever. It's really a pleasure to be here with you. I know a lot of residents in this room voted for me, so I'm so grateful and so humbled to be here with you this evening. As the mayor said, we as a council, we truly, truly believe in teamwork, as you can see, because we're all here tonight. And what we really want to get out of this session is to really understand what's top of mind for you. What ideas do you have? What concerns do you have? What do you want to see from us? What do you want to see for your city? Oftentimes when we're in these meetings with each other and with other people looking to do things with the city of Bowie, we need to understand what it is that you want so that we can keep that in mind when we're advocating for our city. So if you don't share that with us, we won't know to advocate for that. So please, 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 I encourage you, if you don't feel comfortable, please text us. It will come to us. Please email. It is forwarded to us. Or please come up tonight to the mic and share anything that's on your heart, that's on your mind that you'd like us to know. And again, I thank you for coming out. I know it's the evening and you could be cooking dinner, spending time with your kids, or watching various shows, but you're here with us. So we truly appreciate it and thank you very much.
Further ado, there we go. Without further ado, who wants to help us break the ice tonight? Ashley, do you mind coming to the mic here? Thank you. Can we give him a round of applause? He's breaking the ice for us tonight. Thank you.
Unaccustomed. This isn't on, is it?
It's not.
Is it on?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, unaccustomed as I am to speaking briefly, 3 points, that's all. I would like to suggest, that we establish a citizen-based subcommittee, as opposed to you guys don't need more work, to investigate the creation of, put it in quotes, of a Maryland National Capital Parks and Planning Commission in and around Bowie itself. So that would include Anne Arundel County, that would include Anne Arundel County, go down to Upper Marlboro, go west probably to Glendale, and that sort of thing. We've gone through this interesting duration called the Bowie Ice Rink, and everyone was suggesting things that couldn't possibly be done. One of the things that possibly might be able to be done is to have Bowie participate in a multi-jurisdictional area where funds are contributed and so on and so forth, and then we could share all the costs and stuff like that. That's number one. Okay. Number two, I would like to suggest that another subcommittee of citizens be established to figure out a way to reward teachers for doing really good things in the city of Bowie schools. If we depend on the county to do that, it'll never happen. And the same thing for the students who achieve certain things. And then again, if we depend on the county to do it, it'll never happen. So this would apply to all schools, whether it's St. Pius or Grace Christian Academy or whatever it is, or the public schools, it would apply to all schools. That's number two. Number three, when's the last time everyone went down to the end of the driveway because they were so excited to get the Bowie blade? Yes, you're right. So I would like to suggest a third subcommittee to then turn around and establish the ability for people, parents, I have great-grandchildren, that attend their kids' hockey game or soccer game or whatever, to be able to post articles in a reasonably semi-professional way that then gets automatically published, because we cannot depend on the Bowie blade, which is really the Annapolis blade with an occasional dog bone to Bowie. And so maybe we can figure out a way to do this. I have no idea what the legal ramifications, liability, I have no idea about any of that stuff for any of these three. But I think these are three needs, because as you said, one city, one Bowie, you're absolutely right. And right now, you know, if my grandson plays at the Bowie ice rink, Granddad would love to see his name, even though he plays for Piney Orchard. See what I mean? I'd still like to see his name. That's all. Those are the three things. I think I'm within 2 minutes, and I can start again if I want to finish the whole 2 minutes or leave. I think I'll leave.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. Do we perhaps have a response from the council as we wait for the next person to come up? No? Okay.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
How's everybody? I'm here because I'm really interested in the environment and the possibility of overdevelopment in our area. I was wondering if anyone could tell me, has there been any type of research on environmental issues in the Bowie area? Any studies, or does anybody know?
Yes. Every zoning petition has got to address that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who comes in who wants, I mean, even if you want to put a shed up the back of your house, so to speak, that could possibly, if it exceeds a certain thing, and it blocks the water going from one house to the next, that's all that and every zoning thing always requires some kind of environmental impact statement. And you said every zoning change.
Okay, so I can address that real quick. My colleagues can jump in. So the two most active citizen groups we have in the city are the Bowie Green Team and the Bowie Environmental Advisory Committee. They're, like all of our city committees, made up of volunteer residents. Anyone can join. If you're interested in getting more involved, you can definitely reach out to us. We'll plug you right in. They're always excited for people to get engaged. The city over the years has, by itself, done a lot as far as adopting environmental initiatives and programs. And as Mike Werman was just kind of saying, you know, whenever there is a development project that comes down the pike, the developer has to go through a whole bunch of required steps with the city and the county, and as well as meet state laws dealing with environmental mitigation issues. But if that's an issue you're really interested in diving into, there are a million opportunities, and we can plug you in as much as you want to be.
Yes, because I see a sign saying that they're going to sell land, and some of them seem to be near wetlands, and we can't afford to lose our wetlands. As you can see in Washington and parts of Virginia, there's no place for the water to go. The next issue, I want to talk about that hockey rink for just a second. My grandchildren play hockey, and I've been to other cities, and they actually make considerable amount of money by having hockey tournaments and sports tournaments. And I think our area is really a great area to have the tournaments. We have the hotels, we have the restaurants, and I don't think that we have really capitalized on having youth tournaments in our areas as often as we could. And I haven't seen very many, but I can tell you in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey and places like that, they are really, really making a lot of money. So I know everybody's not really into hockey that much, but our area is more diverse in hockey than other areas. And if you allow kids of all colors to be involved in skating, they will really like those types of sports. And I was really shocked at how much I really enjoy hockey myself. But anyway, thanks a lot for listening.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. We are going to ask if you are going to make a comment from the sections. If you would please just come to the mic just for the sake of recording, so we're making sure that we capture everything. Thank you. Yes, and also moving forward, can we please state our names as well? We just want to make sure that we understand, or that we, we're getting familiar with one another. We know who we're talking to. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Gregory Wilson, and he's being reluctant, but I want Rob to come up here with me for a moment.
Come on, Rob, join us. Come on, come on. Come on, everybody give it up for Rob. Thank you. There we go.
I kind of spoke about this a little with the mayor and our representative. What's going on, a lot of you might not be aware. The metro of our area has decided that the C-28, the C-29, and the B-29 are no longer needed in this area. And I said no longer needed, meaning they're talking about canceling those services, period. What they are saying to us, we have basically until sometime in June, because it's really up in the air. They're not really giving a lot of clear information out. But if no one says anything, those lines are going to be cut, period. The other side of that, for those of you who don't ride the bus to the park and ride, you drive your car, well, what Metro has said is this: they will be also cutting the number of trains on the orange line at New Carrollton going in. So what that all breaks down to is a lot more money. For me, it could be as much as $50 a day just for me to get to New Carrollton and get to my office downtown DC. I'm Greg, I'm gonna get out the way, I'm gonna let Rob speak, but basically that's what we're at, and we need everyone. If you have kids, grandkids who have weekend jobs, you know, or just anyone, because we only have rush hour transportation really now. But on the weekends, those kids who have those jobs, they're not going to be able to get to work unless you're going to be able to take them, okay? And again, we were talking about the environment. Come on, if you're doing that, that means there's going to be a whole lot of more people driving. Rob?
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing.
Good evening to everyone, and congratulations to all those who were recently elected to your positions. I didn't vote for all of you, but I mean, that's just honest. But no, but still, I did read all of your platforms. Roxy, now you and I talked after your at that election night. Great website. But everyone, congratulations, and I know that you all will do good work. I'm using his 2 minutes, not mine. But just real quick, we just really need your support in this. I just ran some preliminary numbers, and if people have to take rideshare services on an average of $12 a day for one-way trip, the potential impact to an individual is about $6,000 a year. If 50 people are impacted, that means a loss of about $300,000 per person, which means that's going to directly impact our community. I provided a strategy to the community, South Bowie Community Association, Neighborhood Association, on a strategy and an outreach that's going to involve mobilizing the community, business partners, and of course government officials to help us support this. I ride the bus, my daughter rides the bus, my son rides the bus. There are parents who ride the bus to get their kids to school. There are the guy from Five Guys that gets picked up, he gets picked up in the morning. There's a gentleman who builds structures, the platforms. He gets on the bus in the morning. There are a lot of people that need this bus to get to and from the work, and so we really need your support. There are students who use the bus to get to work. And I actually saw a Metro rider, I saw a Metro operator, I want to point this out. I saw a Metro operator the other day tell a young man that he didn't have his $2 and he couldn't ride. And it really struck me, you're telling me $2 is standing in between this man and his education? And in an era where we're trying to get young men to work, to school, especially young men of color, and $2 is potentially standing between him and the ability to get to his school, that shouldn't happen. DC has some programs where students get to ride the bus free. I'd really like to see some programs enacted along that. Now, my 2 minutes. Sorry. Real quick, I've been a resident of Bowie for 16 years. I've been in facility management administration for 25. So just a couple things. First of all, BGE has done a great job in the infrastructure. Everybody who's been in Bowie for a long time remembers the wind would blow hard and we'd be out power. BGE has done a really great job of clearing the right-of-ways so that the power is far more reliable than it's ever been. Kudos to them. Kudos to Public Works. Thank you all. Anybody from Public Works, really great job. You all respond to the water leaks that have sprung up, broken pipes, really great job, great response time there. Lights going out on Pointer Ridge and Penny Packer, you all, it was a little bit long in that, but I think that's probably just reporting and getting parts in. Good job, response. Finally, Parks and Rec. Shout out to everybody in Parks and Rec who does a great job keeping the parks safe, clean, functional. I've got 6 kids. We played at almost every park in this area. I have swung on the swings. I have gone on the slides. So I can tell you, I have structurally tested them that they are secure for people over 250 pounds. Okay? So now then, I've talked about the C28 support. We really need to control growth. The traffic is getting worse and worse on Central Avenue. The commutes are getting longer and longer and longer. More homes are being built, and the infrastructure is not being moved, is not being supported fast enough. I know there are probably plans in the works, but anybody that tries to ride 301 on the weekends, the light timings are off. It is really, really long lines from Pointer Ridge and then also down on by the Giant and the Walmart. Really, the infrastructure is going to get worse, and we got to have smart growth. And I think everyone has probably received their new tax assessment. Housing values are going up. That works great for people who are trying to sell. Sucks for those who aren't, whose salaries aren't keeping up with the growth. So instead of just talking about myself, I'm more concerned about the elderly who are on fixed incomes. And they're going to have to pay more for insurance. They're going to have to pay more into the escrow. And they're just not going to have the money. So I'm hoping that the city will at least try to help the elderly, and even in those folks who are there are a lot of elder support homes in the area. Just please support them. Find some programs they help either get them grandfathered in, but some type of program to help the people who are going to be on fixed incomes, because they're the ones who are going to get hit hardest by these increases in the property values due to the incredible growth that's happening in this area. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Rob. Absolutely. Thank you. We'll take this next.
All right, good evening. I am also Gregory Wilson.
Oh, wow.
My question is, the clearing that is south of Central Avenue across from Wawa, the land has been cleared. What are the plans for that? What is going to happen? How is that, and how it impact the city of Bowie?
Is this on? Can someone turn this up a little bit? So there's a development proposal called South Lake Properties. It used to be formerly called Carrington. And it's a multi-use property that's going to have some retail. It's also going to bring in the first grocery store in this District 4 area as well. And it's also going to have a plethora of multi-use housing and homes as well. So it's a huge deal. It's a huge project. To be clear on where we are on that project, the city, before most of us were already elected, had annexed it into the city. So it is a part of the city, and we're in this place of figuring out where we're going to go next. Now, Councilwoman Ndebamadi is having a town hall tomorrow, correct, to discuss this issue, because we're curious as to where we go forward from here. I mean, we're talking about smart growth and where our process is, and this is one thing that can provide an economic benefit, but can also be a deteriorator in the infrastructure and for traffic and for things like that. So I encourage you guys to come out, especially for us who are in different districts. We want to figure out how we can vote on this, where we need to stand on this, and what we can do to make this happen for you guys.
Thank you.
Hello? Oh.
Yes.
And the last thing I'll say, yes, we are having a town hall tomorrow with NAI Michaels, who's the developer over South Lake. So please come out tomorrow. It's going to be at City Hall at 7 p.m. with the developer, so you can share concerns with the developer and the council directly tomorrow. But please understand, very similar to what Councilman Buafo said, South Lake was annexed in before we were elected. So we're trying to figure out how we can, where we go with South Lake, but understand that it was previously annexed in before we were elected.
If I may, I want to add in that not only was it annexed, the zoning on it has already, it's already gone through that process. This is, it's coming. This is not about whether or not somebody can go and say, no, let's keep it open space. That water is certainly passed under that bridge some time ago. But it is something that continues to be a concern for all of us. and hence the meeting tomorrow evening.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Howard Tyson. I live in the L section in Bowie. And I recently had to retire in 2015 on disability. And as soon as I got out on disability, 2017, I was called in for audit. And I went out to Baltimore without an attorney, and they had the picture of my accountant. And they had an investigator there showing that he had done some wrong things, not only to my taxes, but to other people's taxes. And I showed them my income and my expenditure statement that I gave him. And also, I used my bank statement to show where my money was going and what was coming in. They refused to take it. And that left me for 2014-2015 owing $4,000 for 2014 and $6,000 for 2017. I appealed to Peter Franchot. He got me in touch with, I think her name is Cheers, and she told me about the ability. She said that I could write a hardship and do a hardship, and I did that. But the money just keeps growing. It's up to over $16,000 now, and I can't afford it. But my next thing is, being on retirement, is that I'm looking at our water bill, and we're paying for pipes, we're paying for meters, we're paying for sewage, paying for the bay. And my question is, why, as many people in the city of Bowie that is paying on these things, when will we stop having to pay on the pipes and the meters and things like that? Because it's like when we use more water, we have to pay not only more for the sewage, but we pay more for the pipes and more for everything else. Everything keeps going up. And my last and final thing is the taxes on my home. When I first bought the house in 2007, the previous owner's statement came, and when I looked at it, they was paying a little over $3,200, and they was there for over 17 years. But my taxes went up in 2007 to over $5,200, and then by 2008 they were at $7,000. I went down and I talked to them and I asked them when had they come out and took a visual look at my home, and they said they just go by what I paid for the home and what the homes in the area cost. But when they came out and looked at it, they took it back down to $5,000 or something. Now it's almost, this year it's going to be over $6,000. I can't afford it. So I'm asking for help if there's any attorneys that Bowie can allow a senior person to use, because I can't afford an attorney anymore. And I think I'm being whipped and I need some help. I'm crying. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Ruth Ann Snyder, and surprise, I'm not talking about Amber Ridge. I'll see y'all
And if you could just speak into the mic just a little more for us.
I'll see y'all next week for that.
Thank you.
All right, what I would like to bring up is the South Lake issue. The thing that irritates me the most about the previous council, which I've known them for decades, is that they floated a bonds to help the developer expand the road so that they could develop. Because you can't develop until State Highway approves those roads. As a taxpayer in this city, I don't mind paying my city taxes because I get a lot of good services. But we should not be floating bonds for the developers in order for them to meet their criteria in order to build that development. And the trees, as lived behind Amber Ridge for 30 years, will grow back. And we have wildlife, so don't worry about that. Everything will grow back at 214 and 301. But they shouldn't be developing that, and we shouldn't. The city attorney needs to revisit that bond issue that the last council voted in and see how we get out of that, because I know that we can, okay? And that way, if they can't afford to build the roads and improve the roads around it, then they can't afford to develop it. And when I was, that comes off my 2 minutes, right? And when I was on the Bowie Planning Board back in the 90s, and admittedly, I did not support him in this last mayoral race, but Dennis Brady came up, he was on the Bowie Advisory Planning Board, came up with the idea, and we all jumped on board, as did the county. When they built the Walmart and all those homes there, each developer had to put money into the pot to widen Mitchellville Road from Mount Oak to 197. The people were not responsible for that. So that issue needs to be revisited. And then there will be no South Lake, just like there is no Amber Ridge because of environmental issues and road issues. There will never be one. First trees came down 30 years ago, and they're all back at Amber Ridge. The second thing is the cut-through traffic that comes off of 301. I live 3 houses up onto our streets because 301 gets so packed. And then they speed. We can barely get out of our driveways. I am not a fan of the hump. My daughter lives in Upper Marlboro. I call it Hump Junction off of Village Drive. They're terrible. We have a lot of fire trucks that go down the road. They don't need to be going over those humps. My thought was, and I did call the BPD about it, we would even take fake signs that say there's speed cameras on Pittsfield Lane, and I'm sure the people on Pointer Ridge. The person who answered the phone did say that would be lying, but how do we ever get to the truth if we don't lie to people?
Absolutely.
Developers do it all the time. So those are my 2 issues that, I'm going to talk about, and I would really appreciate something, because 30 years ago when I moved, 39, when I moved into the house on Pittsfield, my kids could play and walk right across the street and all that, but it is terrible out there. And so something needs to be done about that. And we don't need any more development, put more traffic on our internal streets.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for having me.
Hello.
Hello. My name is Alicia Lyons. Well, first, thank you for your service to our community. My name is Alicia Lyons. I'm the president of the new parent-teacher organization at Northview Elementary School. And as you know, Northview Elementary is the largest elementary school in this area. It has over 700 students. I'm a little nervous. I'm going to read from our paper just to make sure I cover all our concerns. Okay? So the first thing is safety concerns. The infield Chase Park is directly across the street, but there isn't a crosswalk. Due to the limited parking, families dodge traffic to cross the street to the park. We need children crossing signs as well as crosswalks and anything else that we can do to improve safety right there. Since the parking and traffic situation can be hectic, parents also park in a dog park, which is adjacent to our school. This presents a hazard as students have to frequently encounter dogs at that dog park because parents are parking there, and kids are also crossing through there to get to the crossing guard. It would be a great idea if the dog park could be moved to an actual park, probably Infield Chase or Island Pond, which is nearby. And maybe we can use that area to expand our parking because our principal, Mrs. Simmons, has requested to have our area surveyed to improve our parking. We only have a small area, and like I said, parents are going across the street or they're going to the dog park, and teachers are sharing the same parking area as parents. Also, my principal said that he requested to have a police officer in the morning to help with traffic because we're on Northview and that's 4 lanes. At this time, I would say probably for the past years, my principal has literally been outside directing traffic in the morning when he should be inside greeting students. So he's out there on the corner as well as teachers rotating. And there's been altercations as well as accidents right there. And one day I actually saw someone arguing with the principal when he was telling them the right way to go. So if we can get a police officer or just some way to control that so our staff can be inside, tending to our students, that would be excellent. Let's see. So in regards to our parking, Mr. Simmons would also like to have this as a major concern because we know that there's an issue with rezoning and students from Whitehall might possibly be coming to our school. This would be an issue brought up later on, I guess, for next year. So if we have an influx of students, we obviously need to worry about our traffic situation. The next one is, we're in the process of completing our official paperwork to be a 501c3 organization. So I want to put that bug out there for local organizations to partner with our school, faith-based organizations, anything that's in this area to partner with us because our kids have low test scores. We don't have that many enrichment programs. I'm gonna say about 2 or 3, and that's truly unacceptable in this area. And the last time I looked in the Bowie Blade, our school was listed as one of the ones that had low test scores. So I think we really need to start focusing on our school. I've talked to parents who say they don't even want to buy in Bowie because our school is so bad. And I think that's just a poor representation of the city of Bowie.
All right, we are approaching time here.
Okay, I'm gonna hurry up because my students need me. Okay, so the other thing is that we have a library. We don't have a librarian. So if anyone wants to volunteer, please inquire. So we really need volunteers to help out our school. We're trying to get parents involved, but most people are full-time. All of you people, please contact Northview to help us out. The last thing is, as a member of the community, I want to mention that Bowie is a walking area, and in Mitchellville Road, a lot of people walk and run, and there's no trash cans. I ran the other day, and there was literally along Mitchellville Road as you walk. I even saw a huge box. So it would be great if we could get some trash cans along there. And if someone can survey between Mount Oak and 301, I'll put in a complaint, but we have a lot of speeders, and we also need more crosswalks right there because people ride their bikes and a lot of families walk there, and we shouldn't have to walk half a mile to a crosswalk because that's when people start to, take chances and cross the street with their children. So thank you for your time.
Absolutely, thank you. And we do have a response.
So thank you for your questions. Everything you said was in my district, so I feel obligated to say something. The first thing I want to say is that the council and the mayor this morning spent the greater half of this morning on 2 school tours with Rahila Ahmed, who's a school board member for that area. And so this month we will be doing all of the Bowie schools, middle schools and high schools as well, elementary schools, middle schools, and high school, and getting to know what the concerns are for the community. The mayor has done a fantastic job at making sure that education is a top priority so that we're not just relying on the county and the state, but that we're taking education into our own hands. So let's speak after because I would want to hear more about these concerns and how we can address them easily in District 3.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Whitehead. My husband and I own homes in the P section and the K section. The reason why I'm here today, it is a safety concern that I have. Lately, I've noticed, I have a ring doorbell. Lately, I've noticed in the last 3 to 4 or 5 months that there has been a significant increase in car break-ins, cars being stolen. I've noticed that there was even a concern about a tow truck that's driving around and pulling cars around. And of course I noticed in the Ring app, everyone's complaining, but I figure if I'm gonna complain, let me come to the council meeting because there's no need to complain without actually getting involved in the community. So that is a really big concern of mine. I actually have a good friend of mine. She had a wonderful car and someone stole the tires and the rims right off of her car and left her car in cinder blocks. And so her car was totaled. My concern is, I don't know what the situation is with monitoring the neighborhoods. I don't know, but I also noticed in my app that there's people in our community now following trucks that they think are suspicious and becoming vigilantes, and I just think it's a serious safety concern. So I would like to know, what is the plan for that? I mean, it's significant. And I feel scared for myself, for my family, for my neighbors, and for the car that I worked so hard to pay off. So I just want to know, do you guys have any solutions for that?
I'm just going to speak to it really briefly because I won't go in depth here. But that is something that we are looking at. I do have Ring too, so I literally sit in my house from time to time and go through all the comments and read them all, and then email internally across the line. So it is something that we are looking at. It is something that's top of mind. We do know about everything that's going on at Ring, and we are working internally to address those issues and figure out what we need to do and what the appropriate next steps are. So please understand that we do know what's going on. It is top of mind for us. It's a serious concern because we all live in Bowie too. So just know that we're working on it.
I'll just add one more thing onto that. Behind you is Deputy Chief Preston from the Bowie Police Department, who's doing a fantastic job keeping all of us safe day to day. I would talk to him about best practices, but yes, as Councilwoman Deborah Madu said, we are working to figure out what the best practices are to keep all of us safe, but I would encourage you now to just go speak to him and try to let your concerns be known.
Thank you. We'll receive the next.
Good evening. My name is Phil Murray. First thing I want to say is I know if you guys drive up Central Avenue towards Sheriff Road, you notice how all of a sudden everybody puts on their braking lights, and that's because they have I guess it's a speed indicator that everyone's aware of, and everyone slows down. Now, when I'm on Pointer Ridge Road, if I'm on Mitchellville Road, I get apprehensive because I see people flying, I mean literally. And especially on Mitchellville Road, before you get to Excalibur, we have a lot of those ball fields. And I see kids and their parents trying to cross the street. And I'm telling you, people are flying. That is an accident waiting to happen. If it's no more, I like your suggestion about line and saying speed camera. If a live will save lives, great. But at some point, if we can put some kind of monitoring device along those roads, we will see a significant drop in speed, because I'm telling you, people are flying like they have somewhere to go. I want to get that out the way. Second thing, and most importantly, I want to give kudos to Mr. Badamadu and the mayor, because South Lake is real, okay? Like this gentleman said, they're ramming it down our throats, okay? So if you're here at this meeting, you know about the traffic on 301 and on Central Avenue. And I'm here to tell you right now, if you tell a developer, hey, you can develop over this graveyard, they're gonna do it, okay? They gotta make money, but I'm telling you, that's what they're gonna do. So I'm telling you right now, be at that meeting tomorrow, because this is being pushed on us by a traffic study that is years old. There are no schools in the pipeline for this. Showers don't work at Bowie High School. Where are these kids going to school? Where are these people going to go take the bus or the train to get to work? Okay, so if you think 301 is bad, you think Central Avenue is bad now, wait till this comes down the pipe. Now, like he said, it's coming, but it's up to us to determine whether or not they put a bunch of apartment buildings there. People got to live, don't get me wrong. I've lived in apartments growing up, but they're going to put a bunch of apartments there. They're going to put a bunch of stacked houses there, and these people have nowhere to go, no way to get to their car, to get to work, and traffic is going to be ridiculous. And the developers are going to be gone with money in their pockets. So if this matters to you, I suggest you be at that meeting tomorrow. And again, thank you to the two of you, because Roxy actually mentioned stuff to the developer, and I'm telling you, they had no answer. We'll get back to you. I'm telling you, look at the tape. They had nothing to say to her, and the mayor backed her up. And I was proud I voted for both of them. Okay, but I'm telling you right now, if we don't do something, it's coming. Those trees are gone, they ain't coming back. Okay? But if we don't do something, it's going to be worse than you ever imagined. They're talking about hotels. They're talking about a bunch of ball fields with lights open 24 hours a day. Are you kidding? So if we don't do something, it's going to be worse than you ever imagined. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I'd like to respond to your issue with South Lake, and I certainly appreciate your comments. I just wanted to share some information. I met with the developers last week, and they shared additional information with me, kind of giving me a heads up of kind of what they're going to share with you all tomorrow night. Just wanted to clarify that it'll be about 1,460 residences. So they're bringing 300 apartments, townhomes, and single-family homes. They're planning to host or have an indoor sports facility there with lacrosse, baseball, batting cages, basketball, volleyball, so basically a family entertainment center, mini golf. They're having 3 hotels. There'll be restaurants. Eventually, they'd like to build 2 lakes there. They're planning to have the road infrastructure to begin in January and February. They're adding a southbound lane to 301, putting new lights at Central Avenue. They're also, they said they would share the retailers that are coming there as they are committed, so they will share that with us as the retailers are committed.
And no one is committed, no retailer has committed to say they're coming. So we don't know if it's a dollar store or...
They can't commit to that until the homes are built. So they really can't commit to the retail space until they figure out, you know, see the homes, the rooftops. They're looking at also building a daycare center as well. So just want to share that.
Thank you. Before we receive the next guest, I'm going to go ahead and read some of the things that have been submitted to us via the text line.
I just wanted to reply on South Lake as well.
Absolutely, okay.
This wing is trying to coordinate our conversation. First of all, thank you for your comments on South Lake. The biggest challenge we have broadly in development politics is that, for the most part, the City Council is only issuing recommendations on development. The final decisions, for the most part, are being made by the County Council. That's the challenge. Now, South Lake and a number of projects the last council approved were unique because in the case of South Lake, as was brought up before, the last council agreed to help basically subsidize the developer in doing what they wanted, right? In exchange for the developer coming into the city and us eventually, the city eventually being able to collect property tax revenue from it. But outside of those circumstances where the city's entering into a specific agreement with the developer, 90% of the time, the county council is going to be making the final decision. And we as a body are in the middle of this kind of conversation about how we want to handle this. Because the reality is, on most major development projects moving forward that come down the pike, we can unanimously vote no. This council's already unanimously voted no on a number of projects. We did it with Freeway Airport. We've said no to a lot of things so far. Pecan Ridge. The issue is, we can say no all we want, and as long as the county says yes, it still happens. And that's the real challenge. And so one of the things that we're really trying to communicate to residents is, yes, please let us know what you think about these projects. We want to hear you. But it's so important that you communicate directly to our county council members. Todd Turner, who's the chair of the county council, is the district council member for this area. Calvin Hawkins at large, Mel Franklin at large. Reach out to us. We can put you in touch with those guys. But they're the ones who ultimately need to hear this. Because locally, we're a town of 58,000. We have in our individual districts, maybe 15,000 constituents. We're much more sensitive to the local issues that happen when development happens, when the traffic gets worse, when people have concerns about, all the side effects of development. We tend to feel that because we're local. The county doesn't tend to feel that as much. The at-large council members have 900,000 constituents. You know what I mean? So for them, a local traffic concern isn't as big of a deal just because they have a much broader jurisdiction. They're thinking about much bigger things. But that's why it's so important they hear from you, right? That you actually reach out to them. So I just wanted to say that. Oh, and I'm going to pass it to Ingrid.
I'd also like to address Liberty Sports Park. So Liberty Sports Park is going to be adjacent to South Lake. It is county property, so it is not in the city of Bowie. It's not annexed into the city of Bowie, but like I said, it's county property. There will be 10 lighted sports fields there. 6 will be turf and 4 grass fields are planned. They should start working on that next year, but there will be someone addressing Liberty Sports Park coming soon. I will share that information with your Councilmember Roxy. So a representative will come out and talk to you more about that. South Lake representatives will kind of share with you a little bit about Liberty Sports Park, but I certainly want you all to have an understanding of exactly what's coming there, and that information will be shared with you soon.
Thank you. So before we receive...
The only thing I'd like to ask from the crowd, because I've heard a couple of times people have mentioned, not wanting to see dollar stores and those type of stores come into our city. So if you have ideas for the type of stores that you'd like to see, please communicate that to us, because we are very much so committed to making sure that the city looks the way you want it to look. So please email us, reach out to us, let us know the types of stores, the types of retailers that you'd like in the area, so that we can keep that in mind as well.
Thank you. Before we receive the next guest, I'm going to read a couple of things that have been submitted via the text line here. So the first one says, good evening. The Hall Station community applied to become annexed into the city of Bowie on November 21st. Homeowners are interested in having a timeline on this process. It is our hope to be annexed into the city of Bowie soon. The next one says, how will the city address the housing for senior citizens with all the development scheduled to occur? Will there be ranch, rambler, first floor, master bedroom suites available? The one following that says, could council members address this issue? Metro is planning to discontinue commuter bus service, and I believe we heard about this a little briefly earlier, but I'll finish it, in South Bowie. It is believed that several routes such as B21, 22, 24, 27, and 29. As increasing numbers of subdivisions are coming to fruition, we need more mass transport options and not less. Another one here says, is there an ability to create a fund to be made available to teachers in Bowie who funds programs and supplies for their students outside of their own pocket? In addition, South Lake Amber Ridge appears back in the spotlight. A city hall meeting is scheduled for January 21st to discuss Amber Ridge, right? I agree with the person who spoke that Amber Ridge should be funded and or come to fruition. Can we just get a confirmation on the January 21st? Yes, okay, awesome. And then lastly here, what is being done about the increased theft in P section? There are police around, however, the crime is increasing. And I believe we did hear something briefly about that earlier. All right, so we will receive the next guest at this time. Thank you.
My name is Zeta Wilson, and I live in the P section. And you brought up Amber Ridge, which is right next door to this location. From my understanding, that's going to be a development of 200 residentials. And what I'm trying to understand is that the traffic that's on Crane Highway is already beastly. How are you going to be able to, or how's it going to be worked out where the traffic coming into that development and onto Crane Highway is going to be safe? My other question is, all of these developments coming into the area, when are you going to use the land that's already been designated for a new high school in Bowie? And the other thing is the concern about crime. A lot of homes do have rings and other type of security systems on the outside of their home, but is it possible to start putting security cameras on the lampposts? And like in other jurisdictions where they have them on the lamppost throughout where it's recording. And my third, I guess, concern would be the new developments that are coming up all together. The two that we're aware of now, but are there any more in the pipeline that we're not aware
of? Joe, on the development side, right? We're done after Amber Ridge, right?
If you could speak into a mic here, we just want to make sure that we're capturing everything today.
Yeah, the town center may have a proposal coming through.
Yes, I'm Joe Minard, the planning director for Bowie, and I don't want to say that there's no development coming, but what you're going to see is redevelopment of sites like the Bowie Sears property. We have Mill Branch Crossing, which is a project that's undeveloped on the other side of 301 across from Walmart, so that'll be coming in. But there aren't any unknown projects that we haven't, anticipated. So I think your question is fairly, it's a finite number of things, and we have our eyes on those.
Thank you for sharing.
And my other concern is that I do appreciate this meeting here, and I would hope that they would continue, but when there are meetings that the construction companies or development companies are going to be having, it would be nice that the community could be aware of that too, so that we could come and attend and voice our concerns and possibly get some questions answered.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
How are you getting your information now about meetings from the city? How'd you find out about this meeting?
I received it in the mail.
Okay.
And I belong to the Community Association for South Bowie,
Right.
and sometimes they push it out, but a lot of times they don't push out the information. Like the meeting tomorrow with NAI Michael, I wasn't aware of that until it was mentioned here. And I don't know how many other residents in the room were aware of this meeting coming up tomorrow.
Okay.
So if you're taking out information, can you make sure that you push stuff up to us?
So just so you're aware, everyone, so just look curious, by show of hands, how many people are here because they got a postcard from the city of Bowie? Raise your hand. Oh, wow, okay. Raise your hand if you are currently signed up for Bowie Alerts. Okay, awesome. So, if you're signed up for Bowie Alerts, you should be getting notices about these meetings coming up via text, via email newsletters. If you are signed up and you feel like you're not getting those, just check your account real quick and make sure you're signed up for that. Many of us also put out newsletters, but if you, and I think if you signed up tonight, if you gave us your email address tonight, we'll also be adding you to newsletter lists to make sure that you're being aware of all these meetings.
Sir, it's also about following. It's also
Okay.
about following.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll receive the next guest at this time.
Good evening. I'm John Butler. I'm president of the Turnberry Homeowners Association. 15, 16 years ago, when Carrington was planning on that development on the south side of Central Avenue, they were talking about 400 single-family homes, townhouses, and apartments. If they're talking about 1,000 now, that's 2.5 times as much traffic as what the 400 would have generated. So as bad as 301 is, it'll be totally impassable, and it'll take hours to get through there. So you can count on me at that meeting tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. We'll receive the next guest.
Sorry. Good evening, Happy New Year. I'm sorry, too close. My name is Matt Avery. I just moved here 2 years ago, and so yeah. So I'm also unfamiliar with how city council versus county councils versus state representation happens because I'm from DC. So well, I was from DC, so we only have one. And so that being said, I don't know what you're responsible for versus what somebody else is responsible for. So my two questions may not be you guys or whatever. Anyway, I live on the A section right up, actually 2 blocks away from here, and crossing the street to get crossing Mitchellville to get to here is impossible. There's no crosswalk to get to. I mean, there's just you got to walk all the way down to 301 to get here. I mean, there's no sidewalks on 197, or at least once you get past the housing complex on the right, there's no more sidewalks. So the 2 churches that are over there to get to this community center, there's no like crosswalk or anything like that. And I have 2 young children, so trying to get them to there and walk is almost impossible. And then secondly, God, I lost my train of thought now. It happens, I know.
It's okay.
But it'll come back to me, and I'll probably text it in. But thank you guys for having this.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing this, Andrew. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Rhonda, and I live in the D section. Good evening, Mayor Adams, council members. I'm a little nervous, and I've never seen the council members and the mayor in South Bowie. I am so glad you're here because we've never had this type of meeting before. So I want to thank you and welcome you as well. I have 2 concerns, and I'm going to save South Lake for tomorrow. One of my concerns is a traffic study. I realize Roxy is new in our area. She's our new council person. And I realize that issue was tabled with the last council person. It's been so bad on Hall Road. If you look at Hall Road, there's some work that's been done on Hall Road, and it looks like an earthquake hit the bridge and all the trees over there because they're doing some type of work over there. Not only that, but since they built the stores there and the Prince George's County Federal Credit Union, the traffic there, cars have ran through that stop sign. I've almost been hit twice. And there's a car that ran over the ramp and when you come through Hall Road. That's the other issue. The other issue is Tall Oaks. You could hear the cars. I live in the back of Devonshire, and you could hear the cars just speeding through these young guys with these fast cars coming down Tall Oaks. The other thing is they use our community as kind of a racetrack type way of testing their cars. And there are no police there, but they'll come back through the community, they'll circle out, come back around, and I've seen some of the tow trucks come through late at night. And I've called the police, and I think they know my address at this point by now, and they've been really nice about it. They've asked if they could stop by and talk to me, but it's usually no. But I've seen a lot of the congregating in back of the community because there's nobody there. The second issue is the school system. I've been living in Bowie for about 15 years, and I think I brought this up to Ingrid. We decided not to try the public school system for several reasons. My son was in 5th grade, and he was tested by Johns Hopkins as being at the 8th grade level. When I brought that up to the last person who was on the school board, it was like, congratulations. Nothing about, talking to my son or anything. So what we decided to do, we decided to try private school. And we've been in private school ever since. Right now, because a lot of the schools in DC is changing, it's turning over, and a lot of people are sending their kids to public school. So what's happening is a lot of the private schools are coming after the best students, including Prince George's County, and they're giving kids money. So they're hosting a lot of these in-house things at people's homes in Bowie in the Upper Marlboro area, and they're giving the kids money. So my thing is this: if you've never try to turn around the school system. I don't think transferring kids from Whitehall to Northview is going to make a difference, bring up test scores. That's such an old way of looking at trying to change the school system around. I really think if you have programs that are catered to kids, all different kids, whether they are need-based in terms of learning low test scores and having those kids as well who do very well, I think if you have programs for all of them, because all I've heard are programs for kids who come from homes who may not be able to read at the national level, whatever. That's all I hear about, and it was nothing for us as parents, and that's why we decided to choose private school. And also, I've looked at some of the reports. CLA does the audit report for Prince George's County Schools. One of your problems is you're having all these audit findings, and you cannot co-mingle funds or whatever. You had an issue recently where one of the people in administration was giving out contracts. It was a conflict of interest. People look at those things, and they ask the question, is it worth it for me to send my kids to Prince George's County Schools? I do realize that the CEO is trying to better the programs, but you have to look at some of the other school systems like Columbia, Maryland. I lived there for about 10 years, who actually has this down. Their property values have gone up because they're the #1 school system in the state of Maryland. So you have to look at what everybody else is doing and think differently. I'm sorry about that, but I'll address South Lake tomorrow.
Thank you for sharing. We'll receive the next guest.
Good evening. My name is Patrice Murray, and I am in J section, specifically Collington Station. First, I want to say Trader Joe's. Put that on your list. I will be surprised if any of the retail gets signed up before the houses are 15 years old over there. Just saying, based on track record. But I want to talk about Central Avenue. Central Avenue is a raceway. Right at Jennings Mill, thank you. Right at Jennings Mill, where we go into our development on one side and Devonshire on the other, that intersection is deadly. These two have heard it because they have come to the South Bowie Citizens Organization, and they heard me mention it then. I've been in communication with the state of Maryland, and J.J. Peters has been writing letters as well. I'm coming here tonight to get your support because you're new, and I need you all to support my effort for this as well. It's dangerous. We've had several accidents. My sister, who also lives in my community, got hit turning into our community, flipped her SUV over on its head. Luckily, she was not seriously hurt, but she's not the only one. The current president of our HOA, who's not here tonight, I'm sure, because tonight is our HOA meeting, his son was also hit at that same corner. It's dangerous. I have asked specifically that they just simply change the sequence of the lights. That's all. It's not going to cost the state of Maryland, the city, anyone, any money. Just simply change the sequence so that when we come out of Collington Station, Devonshire waits. When they come out of Devonshire, we wait. And when there's a turn signal, the turning goes along with, if you're going east to west, then the eastbound turns when you're going east and not at the same time. It's just a matter of safety. And I would like your support, sending a letter. I can send you all a copy of the letter that I've sent. The state has responded to me twice because I don't give up. And just one other thing to the lady who talked about she didn't want the humps in her area. We fought in Collington Station and got Bowie's first roundabout. So,
thank you for sharing.
Ms. Murray? Mrs. Murray?
If you could, I reached out a couple days ago about getting a forward of that email that you were sent with them rejecting. If you could please forward that to me, we really need that to be able to.
Absolutely. I'll make sure that all of you have all of the letters that they sent me, as well as those that I've sent, as well as the petition that I had attached to it, because I always get petitions going if I see something wrong that needs to be fixed. So,
thank you.
Thank you. Before we receive the next guest, we are getting pressing towards the last 40 minutes of this, so we're going to be more tight on time. So I'll lift my mic to signal if you're coming close to your time. Thank you.
So, good evening. I won't take up much of your time, but my name is Beverly Judge, and I live in the East section. And this is really a question in terms of our relationship. You know, we are a municipality with what's going on in Annapolis in terms of, you know, bills and legislature. That's the first thing. And then number two has to do with the census that's coming 2020, that is very critical in terms of, you know, people being counted, live people, and getting funds from that. And then I was gonna say something about affordable housing, but I won't. Because I just won't. Maybe I'll save it for tomorrow. And then the last two things have to do with a campaign. I'd like to see a campaign in terms of the way we need to stop the way people drive. It's, you know, it's terrible on the highways. People are dying on the highways. There's way too much speed. This is really across the entire country. So really, you know, if we make adjustments here in this, you know, in our municipality, maybe it should be able to filter out. And it's really a problem. So a campaign and litter, those are the things that I'm concerned about tonight. And I'll be at City Hall tomorrow too. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Before we receive our next guest, I'm going to read a couple of more submissions from the text here. So this one is from Miss Halima DeBoer. She says, I am a parent at Northview Elementary School. My concern is that 4th grade needs extra teachers to help. The foundation for middle begins in 4th grade from my observation in class session. It's hard to get the students focused with one teacher. The next input here says, why are we not requiring South Lake developers to build a school? Moving on to the next one here. What would it take for the charter or laws regarding land use and jurisdiction to be taken out of the hands of the county and into the hands of the city of Bowie? Next one here. I am glad to hear that the mayor and the council will be visiting all Bowie schools. I am particularly concerned about Heather Hills and Benjamin Tasker Middle School. Heather Hill's principal is not engaged. She has single-handedly pushed parents away from the school, and moreover, the school's test scores and rankings have fallen annually since the current principal began in 2014. Rahila Ahmed is aware of substantial issues associated with the school. And then second, Benjamin Tasker Middle School has a major issue with school climate and culture. Violence has plagued the school for quite some time. Videos of fights are circulating around Bowie on a regular basis. Our children need help. Rahila Ahmed and the PGCPS, Central Office are aware of these issues. Please help our city's children. Following that, I live in District 3, and it disturbs me when they talk about development and especially retail. When the Bowie Town Center has deteriorated with no high-end shopping. I heard recently that Macy's is closing soon as well, and that's the major helm of the town center. Moving forward, bus number 388 is almost always late to Northview Elementary School. It's a safety concern for students whose parents drop them off at the bus stop and the bus does not show up on time. Please help. Another here says, good evening. What's the status of the Bowie Town Center since most of the retail stores have moved? Also, the litter is out of control on 301 and 214. Why did the good retail stores move out of Bowie? And I'll pause there, and then we'll receive the next guest.
Thank you.
So we'll quick pause and then have some response from the council.
Yeah, a couple things. First, on the Bowie Town Center issue, this is a critical issue in District 3, right? We all came to Bowie for a certain reason. My parents moved to Bowie for a certain reason. I stay in Bowie for a certain reason. We are the largest municipality in Prince George's County, and it's going to be time that we start acting like it. And on the Bowie Town Center, we're going to make sure that we get Class A retail back into the city of Bowie so that we don't have to drive to Crofton and Anne Arundel to shop. So I just wanted to say that. And whoever spoke about the Tasker issue and the Heather Hills issue, District 3 again is my district. If you feel comfortable, please come up to me after this. I would love to talk to you more about that.
On the retail issue broadly, retail is going to continue being a challenge all across the region and all across the country. And it's a bit of a catch-22 because whenever you talk to a retail commercial owner, they want one thing, and that's we want to be able to add residential to the land that we own to have guaranteed customers. And of course, residents have been making it very clear that they do not support that for the most part. So that's a catch-22 that we're going to have to work through. When it comes to town center specifically, I think all of us are very aware that there has to be a change made, especially for the parcel where the Sears property was. We're going to be having meetings about that this year. And it's one of the things where we really need your engagement early, especially on the town center redevelopment, because I guarantee you that developer is going to want some sort of mixed-use concept with residential and commercial. And I don't think there's a universe where the town center is going to have just new commercial without residential. So that's something that we have to talk about early. We need your feedback on early. If you live near the town center, if you care about the town center, please stay in tune on that issue and please continue to communicate with us.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Janice. I live in the P section over here in Greenstone around the corner. Listening to all of this, I can hardly get out of my development now. Going north on 301 is really difficult. Going west on Central Avenue, where I have to go to work, is equally as difficult. And now, if Metro is successful in cutting off bus service, I can forget about hopping on Route 50. My question is, as far as I know, and you all will correct me if I'm wrong, but each jurisdiction, Virginia, Maryland, DC, contributes money to Metro Rail's finances. Shouldn't we say something to the governor and say, hey, if you're not going to run buses in Bowie, then we think we ought not support you? I believe Virginia did something like that several months ago, and they were successful in keeping those bus lines running. I don't take the bus, but those that do, I don't want them in their cars because I have a hard enough time as it is. So it's a little self-serving. However, I think that there should be some kind of way I will contact them, you know, and put my 2 cents worth in. But, you know, unless everyone in the county, whether they ride the bus or not, hops on those phone numbers, emails, calls, whatever, it's not going to change. Because if they're looking at, you know, if ridership actually is down, they're going to cut those lines. And there probably isn't anything we can do about that. But we certainly shouldn't be giving them money to run an organization and then not give us any service. That just doesn't make sense to me. And then with everything else that's been talked about this evening, and I don't even know if this is even proper, but is there a way that this council can tell us, the residents of Bowie, how we can go about affecting change in county council? I know we have a vote, but there's some other things that we should be able to do to be able to force them, because building all this stuff, it's going to be a hot mess. It just doesn't make any sense. And, you know, someone corrected me earlier because I thought at one point in time when Bowie was talking about getting a police department and PG County didn't want us to do that, I had heard that we had threatened to defect to Rundle County, but I was told that wasn't true.
And we are approaching time there. Thank you for sharing.
Good evening. Thank you to the council, the mayor, for coming out and setting this up. Thank you to the residents. I learned a lot today just by being here. My name is Chris Napier. I've been a longtime resident. I'm a product of Rockledge Elementary. I'm a product of Eisenhower Middle School due to busing, and also a product of Bowie High School. So I've been a longtime resident. That was the reason for me to say that. My spin is a little different. I would love to really see more just what we've done in the past is really well. And those things are the fact that the streets we drive on, riddled with potholes, cracks, things of that nature. You could call Public Works. I know a gentleman had thanked them, but in my opinion, when I drive down Prospect Hill, I see people drive the shoulder because they don't want to risk their vehicles, catching a flat tire. But then I say, well, what happens to that one proactive young person or adult who wants to get some exercise in that morning during that 6 a.m. when someone wants to drive to work and they take that shoulder and you have an accident? So I would love to just see more of that happen, with our Public Works for proactivity to really ensuring that we're keeping our streets, properly paved or repaved, not just fix the holes that eventually just go bad again. Also as well, I would like to just see more of an influx in, and I know everyone talks about, saving money. For me, I'm a younger person. I spend it, but I would like to spend it in my city. My wife and I, we go out of the city to spend our money because just the things that we enjoy, and just not here in the city. Let's just take a movie theater, for instance. It used to be the Hoyts, now it's the Regal, but the seats haven't changed. But I can go to, Crofton, or I can go to Laurel, and they've been updated. Largo has something in the works. I would love to see that plan in place for us because when I spend my dollars here, then I expect the bottom line of what we do to spend more money to make things better in our city. So I do hope there's a plan in place for that. And I just want to thank personally the Councilman Michael S. there. He's always kept me apprised via email. Also to Councilwoman Ingrid Harrison. We've had conversations via email. Your responses have been great, being so quick. So this is just me as a longtime young person, and I love the fact that all of my older residents that are hearing these concerns that I never knew they existed at all, being young, but I do appreciate having this time, so thank you very much. And also, too, if we could, I'm gonna give up my time, but if we could, we just give a round of applause of encouragement for the young lady behind me because she's nervous to speak her mind, but it is important. So thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing. No pressure, you got it.
Hi, I'm Joanne. I've lived here for 50 years up the street. I only have two concerns at this time. One is with code enforcement. I've noticed a deterioration in properties around here, especially with trash pickup and storing your trash cans. I thought you had to have them out of sight and not where everyone can see them, or sitting that you walk by and there they are sitting, or people leave them in the street for days after trash is picked up, or they put them out too early and the birds get in their trash because they don't use a trash can. So I'd like to see an improvement with code enforcement. I know you're very busy and you have a lot to do, but that's what I'd like to see. And my next issue is with the crime. My car was vandalized. I didn't report it and I got it fixed myself. Several, maybe 5 months ago, my neighbor had 4 tires stolen off a brand new truck. And that day, there were, I think, 3 or 4 other people that had tires stolen. I'd like to see statistics printed in the paper of crime that is going on in the neighborhood so that we are aware of what's going on. A lot of people don't have computers, they don't go online to do this. And so years ago when we were under the PG Police Department, the crime statistics for the county are published every Thursday in the Washington Post by PG County Police. Not every crime or statistic. But with the Bowie Police Department, we have no idea what goes on. None whatsoever. And I'd like to see this published somewhere. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for sharing. So I'm going to take a quick pause here, read a few more of the text submissions. Here is one that says, most current commuters and long-time homeowners do not want mass transportation in Bowie. The rush hour buses are sufficient. We need a C28 rush hour bus because there are too many riders. Metro has statistics that state that ridership is not supporting the C29. There are times when there is only 2 people on the C29. There are few pickups in the neighborhood. Have this bus go around. Now, the next one here states, what is the construction going on at the Hall Road and railroad tracks? Have 5G installations been completed and running now? What is Bowie's sustainability and how will it affect our houses, appliances, water and electricity that's within our houses? And tell us about the 2020 and 2025 initiatives pertaining to green gases drop. We'll pause there and receive the next question.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Karen Thompson. I'm in the A section. I've been in Bowie over 20 years. So when I first moved to Bowie, the Walmart was not there. It was just a 7-Eleven. So everything has been developed since then. So my concern would be what a lot of people have already stated, which is the overdevelopment in Bowie. One of the prior questions was, are there other, I think the person used the term unknown development. And when the planning person, the guy answered the question, if I had not read in the newspaper, I probably would think that there's only 2 or 3 other developments going on. But I remember, I think back in November or October, in the paper was a list of all developments they were planning to do, which was quite extensive. I have not seen a follow-up article at all. So my question really is, where do we go to find that information? Do we go to the site to see what's being discussed, or are things going to be publicized in the newspaper more? Because there's quite a bit going on in Bowie, but not that many came up tonight.
So thank you so much for your question. If citybowie.org on our main website, our planning department actually has individual pages for each major anticipated project going on with detailed information on each. If you sign up tonight, we also put out via our alerts, every upcoming meeting, every hearing, every stakeholders meeting on development. So if you want to learn more about that, definitely sign up. And like I said, at citybowie.org, we literally have every piece of information that you could want to know about every project that's coming down the pike. Someone asked earlier about how to influence the county. There's no other way to say this. Elections are the only way to influence the county. Development has been an issue in Bowie, but it's also been an issue in Anne Arundel, in Howard, in Montgomery County. They're having the exact same conversations in those counties and all around the DMV and all across the country right now. Anne Arundel has been traditionally a very pro-development place. Their county executive lost his election, surprisingly, and that was blamed in part because he was too pro-development. The new county executive is now literally considering a temporary stop on all development in Anne Arundel County. But that only happened because the previous guy lost an election. Exact same thing happened in Howard County recently. So, again, we had a huge sea change on the Bowie City Council. We went from being a 5-2, very pro-development council. You're looking at the 2. We're the only 2 still here, by the way. To a council that's much, much, much more skeptical about development. But again, we can vote no on every project, and most of the time it won't matter if the county moves forward. So you gotta email your county council members, you gotta email the county executive, you gotta make sure that they're hearing from you and your concerns. And you gotta make sure you vote for people who represent those concerns as well. That's the only way to really meaningfully affect change.
Thank you.
And I'd like to add on, there's a effort that's just now starting. Our planning department will be heavily engaged in this. The master plan is going to be redone for Prince George's County. They've been a zoning rewrite, and now there's going to be a significant effort, and I want to make sure that everybody who is interested has an opportunity to participate in that, and that is going to be an opportunity in the next couple of months where we actually start looking at what the county looks like and drawing up what areas should be, what level of zoning, and that process is something that people need to get engaged in. And so look for the city. We'll be getting more information out for folks on that.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Pam Davis, and I'm glad that you mentioned that because that's overdevelopment in Bowie is a concern of mine too, as many people here. And
I just wonder if the people that are making these decisions are thinking about us. Because the developers are gonna come in, build what they wanna build, and they're gonna be gone. And we're stuck with the traffic and the crime and the trash. And even though they put in a lot of new retail, like Big Lots and Burlington, when you go into those stores, it's not the same quality as you find in a lot of other places. I mean, I was just appalled. I went looking for a coat for my daughter. And first of all, nothing was in the right place. And you could only find like one of everything in there. So I needed one size, and they only had like one size. So even though they're giving us stores, if you're not giving us the quality that we deserve, then what's the point? Because all we're going to do is just go somewhere else. And I also wanted to bring up the fact I am a C-28 bus rider. I've lived here for 25 years, and I don't like to drive, so I depend on the bus. I race for the bus every day. And especially in inclement weather, because I don't drive in snow either. So I don't know how they can propose all of this new development and mixed land use and then give us no transportation. It just doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. So I just hope that they'll take that into consideration and can do something about it.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, and we'll have one quick comment from Councilwoman Ndebumado, and then we'll move forward.
I know people are starting to trickle out, but just make sure that before you leave, that you sign in on the sign-in sheet and leave your email address so that we can communicate you and keep you updated on what's going on and a lot of the concerns that you mentioned here today.
Hello, my name is Vicki Martin Smith, and I consider myself the unofficial mayor of Bowie. So if you ever need help, just let me know. But anyway, mine's kind of a simple concern, but one that drives me crazy is litter. And I just wish we could maybe do something like Angela Alsop-Brooks, who says Prince George is proud. Maybe we can do like a Bowie City proud, and have a mission statement of like no litter, help your neighbor, and et cetera. And it just, like you guys said, more development is going to mean more litter. And when I see it on the streets, it just drives me crazy. And I'd be willing to even get out there and help pick it up if you guys plan something. So no litter in Bowie.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Before we receive our next resident, I just want to make sure that we're capturing the inputs or the submissions rather from the text, so I'll read a few more here. What is the repurposing plan for the old Sears property? The next one says, what project is occurring on Hall Road near the bridge? Next one here is, could there be a synchronization of the traffic lights on 450 on Racetrack Road and Superior Lane? The way that they're currently set up makes it extremely dangerous getting out of Bowie Forest development. Next submission here says, I would really love to do more about the trash and litter issue in South Bowie. We are besieged by turkey vultures. Can we add covered trash cans and issue fines for litter for 301? And I will yield there, and then we'll pick back up after the next resident.
Good evening. I've lived in Bowie for 25 plus years, and I certainly believe in my heart that Bowie, as far as Prince George's County, is probably one of the best places to live. So we have lots of attributes. We do a lot of things that are wonderful. But on the other side, each meeting that you have mentioned about looking at land use with Sears, I attended that meeting. When they were talking about the train, this high-speed train, I attended that meeting. And you sign up and you never hear anything else again. So I am going to say to you, in this day and age, and I do not like high-tech anything, but I have a computer. You should be informing us of whatever they're doing on, Hall Road, with that construction that's going on. Just let the people know what is occurring. So I know I went to that meeting 20 years ago, this development, Lake what are you calling it? We've been talking about that for 20 years. My second point, I would beg you that you offer 3 or 4 times sessions. Call it Government 101. What occurs? What is Bowie responsible for? Explain to us when we should come to you. Explain to us how the county council fits in. I've been there. I have spoken 2 and 3 times. Every time I speak, believe me, I lose, whatever I go down for. That would be Evangel Temple when it came here. That would be the church that just purchased land, and I know you guys know about all of this. You do, but the community doesn't know. The church that purchased the land on Church Road and Mitchellsville, and I don't want to pass rumors, but it's not for the church. My understanding, it is for social services projects. And I don't want to go into depth, but the community needs to know. You know as well as I do where the airport is. They're going to sell that land. It's just been approved by the county council. One is County Council Davis. I will never vote for him again because I never miss an election. So that's the other thing. But you have to inform people. We just don't know. So I appreciate your help. Again, enjoy, love Bowie, always brag. And lots of people brag about what we receive here. We have great services. The Christmas, when the truck goes around, there is nothing like it. So we love our community, but we can improve.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Very briefly, I appreciate the comments from everyone. I think one of the things that I want to emphasize again is that's why we're here. We're here to listen. We're here to do the work of you, the people. You know, there are changes going on here. We want to make sure that you understand. One of the things I said earlier is what's going to help us to make change in the city and how we can do that. And that's remembering we're one city. We're one Bowie. So that the issues that we face here are issues that we talk about as a city. Too often in the past, and I won't go on about this, is that we've looked at things from a district standpoint. And so what happened in District 1 was just an issue in District 1. What happened in 2 was 2. But no, we need to come together as a city. And that's why we're doing this. One city, one Bowie. We need to have our collective voices heard. If we want to make a true impact on what's happening with development here with zoning, and just the overall city itself, we've got to work together. We've got to be one voice. We've got to be one city. So I really want to thank you all for being here this evening. You know, I've been, I think, real proud of trying to be a good listener tonight. That's what I wanted to do. We were here because we want to hear from you. And there are some wonderful things we heard, and there's some information I know all of us are going to go back and process on how we can better serve you. So again, thank you for coming, but again, remember, we're one city, we're one Bowie.
So we'll quick pause there. I know that you wanted to make a remark, and then we'll receive something from you, but please come to the mic so that we can hear you. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I am Una Cooper. I'm the communications manager for the city. So I would like to encourage you, if you have not done already, to pick up this card that's over at the table. On one side, it has all the ways you can stay connected with the city, and the other, it has how to sign up for Alert Bowie. Alert Bowie is the way you're going to find out about the development meetings and the projects. We send something out every month via that, and usually some updates during the month. So I would encourage you to do that. The other thing is, because we want to know how successful our efforts are, if you would just stop by the table on your way out and just let us know how you heard about that. That would be useful information for us for the following ones of these. But thank you for being here tonight.
Absolutely, thank you. Before we receive what appears to be our last 2 residents, I'm going to read the last 4 submissions that we have for the text, and then we'll move forward. And so it says here, we have a nonprofit organization chartered in Bowie, but we receive more support from Suitland, Maryland, DC, and other PG County districts in regards to space and resources than we do in the town in which we began in. If children are our most precious asset, then we have to rely on more than the schools to support them. We have organizations in the community that do great work, but they are taking their services to other cities where they are welcomed with open arms. What is the city willing to do to support our local nonprofits that support our children? And that's submitted by Mentoring Through Athletics organization. The next one here says, it seems we have no say in what is put into our community. Putting an ATM in the parking lot near Collington Giant will cause congestion and encourage crime. The next one says, when I moved to Bowie in 2006, Bowie police used to drive around Bowie streets. I don't see the police driving around anymore. For safety's sake, can the police start driving around to improve our safety? And then the last submission here says, thank you, Mayor Adams, for your leadership. You are doing a wonderful job. This is a great listening session. So we'll receive the next resident. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'll make this quick. My name is Rochelle Robinson, and I've lived in Bowie for a month. And I wanted to know if you could tell me how to volunteer, how to get involved with the council, because it seems like a lot of concerns, but we shouldn't have a meeting like this to address them. So if anybody can provide information on how to volunteer.
Yeah, we have standing committees. So if you go onto our website, cityofbowie.org, you will see a plethora of committees. You'll see which ones you may be interested in, and there are ways to contact them through there. And so that's the best way to get involved in our community here.
Thank you.
Please do. Yeah,
they need
Absolutely.
Nothing new. I just didn't get the response that I thought I've seen you give other people about my issues. And I'm sorry they're personal, but they are. You know, they're personal and they have to be addressed. And the taxes I was speaking of is state taxes. And I would like, if there's any information that can help me to understand what's going on and get a stronghold of what's happening here. I explained that they wouldn't allow me to use my bank statements to prove what I had on my statements for my tax person.
Yeah, what I'll say, and I apologize if none of us really answered it. Again, we're trying to get through everybody here. The one thing I'll say, too, is each person on the state level, on the county level, and on the congressional level have an office called Constituent Services. As someone who works for a member of Congress, a lot of people don't utilize this, right? And we have the ability and the oversight ability to do a lot of things. So what I'll recommend you to do, especially because it was state taxes, correct?
Yes.
Is reach out to your state senator. What community do you live in?
I live in the L section.
Okay, so your state senator is Douglas Peters. Allison O'Brien is his constituent services director. I would reach out to her and figure that out. I would also reach out to your local congressperson, because sometimes when the state can't get things done, the oversight from the federal government kind of scares the state, and then you see things move. So I would recommend those are the two best ways to really get this issue moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Well, we have about 11 minutes left. Do we have any other ones? Any other residents want to share? I see someone coming up. Hey.
So this question may have been answered, but I came later. So I was just trying to figure out who each person was from left to right.
Oh yeah, awesome. So let's run through intros one more time, Rox, if you want to start, and then we'll work our way down.
Sure. I'm Roxy Endeavor Madhu, so I represent District 4, so essentially I represent the residents, most of the residents in this audience.
I'm Tim Adams, Mayor.
I'm Kyron Guerrero, just serving as the moderator for this evening.
I'm Ingrid Harrison, and I'm one of the at-large council members, so I serve the entire city.
I am Adrian Buafo. I serve District 3.
And I'm DeFore Wolfley. I'm the District 2 councilman.
Michael Lestaz, and I am District 1, which is roughly the area north of Route 450.
Awesome. We got about 10 minutes left. I'm scanning the crowd here.
I just want to do one thing before we continue to move forward.
Okay.
Everyone who works for the city of Bowie and police officers, can you please raise your hand and stand up, please? So a lot of you guys may not know, although we operate as a part-time council, we really do this full-time in most of our capacities. And these are the people every day who make this city move forward. And so again, give them another round of applause, because without them, we couldn't get a lot of this stuff done.
All right, so this concludes our listening session for tonight.
Oh, wait.
Okay, so, all right, so we're going to be really strict on time. Let's kind of keep it to 1 minute or so. Yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to see if we could answer some of the text messages, because we're going through them, but some of them haven't been answered, that's all.
Got you, okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Joseph Long, and I've been an old-time Bowie resident, and I live in Old States area in District 3. And I have a question because every day when I go to work, I use Church Road. And in the past recent years, the congestion has been a little bit tight in terms of commuting and the amount of vehicles in Church Road. Do you know how we're going to address that in terms of the commuting and how to mitigate?
Yeah, so most of Church Road is actually our district, correct? And so one of the biggest things that the county is going to be doing, the county exec said that she's going to be launching the Church Road work group, force tax group, or whatever it's called that she's calling it. And that's going to pull residents from that community. And as your representative, because you do live in Old Stage, I'm going to be reaching out to folks in that area who want to sit on that committee. The reality is that because we have an ice rink coming, because Freeway is coming, that road is going to get worse. And so it's one of my top priorities to ensure that we figure out with the county and with state dollars, and if there's even federal dollars, to make sure that we mitigate that traffic issue, because it will become a real issue over the next couple of years.
Okay, thank you. And there is a bill that is going to be submitted by Delegate Eric Barron and Delegate Ron Watson from District 23 regarding a speed camera for Church Road in the area where the young man was killed last summer.
Absolutely. All right, so.
So as far as the text questions, we had a ton of different things. If there was something in particular you wanted answered, just email us, and we will get back to you specifically on that. Yeah.
All right, well, this concludes our listening session for this evening. Future listening sessions are going to be on January 29th at City Hall, February 13th at Huntington Community Center, February 26th at the Ken Hill Center, and all meetings will begin at 7 p.m. Again, this session was recorded. It's going to be rebroadcasted on the Bowie Government of Verizon Channel 10 and Comcast Channel 71 and 996. If you can't catch it there, please visit the city website or check out the YouTube as well. If there was any issues, ideas, or concerns that you didn't get a chance to submit today, please be sure to forward those or email them rather to publicinfo@cityofbowie.org. Again, that's publicinfo@cityofbowie.org. We appreciate each and every one of you who came out tonight, and then I'm going to pivot over to the mayor. You have any closing remarks you want to give tonight? Or Roxy?
I just want to say thank you so much for coming out to this listening session and sharing a lot of your concerns, your questions, a lot of your vision, things that you'd like to see in Bowie. We've taken all of that and written all of that down, all the questions you've submitted prior to, all the questions you submitted via text message tonight. We will digest that as a council as well, and then we will get back to you, whether that be the city website or a direct email. If you left your email here tonight or signing up for Alert Bowie, your questions will get answered. So please know that we'll answer that at a later date after some time to digest the questions together. So thank you for coming out, and we hope to see you in the future.
Again, thank you for coming, and we'll call it quits now, but just remember, one city, one Bowie.